week's episode of Star Wars Rebels, Zeb gets to spend some quality time with Chopper and AP-5 when they suddenly discover a damaged droid outside of Chopper Base, known as Warhead, an Imperial Infiltrator droid, a ruthless assassin with explosive tendencies. Thank the maker we finally have an episode with Zeb. I was really worried that he was going to end up transforming into the Piccolo of this series. And that's no joke either. They've been walking over Zeb this entire season. He always wants to get right into the action, but he always ends up doing the bitch work. He ain't fucking Rosie the robot. Another thing that I really loved about this episode is getting to spend some more time with AP-5, who is continuing to be one of my favorite characters from Star Wars Rebels. The best thing about him, of course, is that he's an extreme caricature of actor Alan Rickman, who sadly passed away in the last year. But honestly, the guy who does his voice is just pitch perfect at it. He really captures that incredible dry humor that made Alan Rickman such a funny, but also very good and credible actor. Not to mention, just watching him and Chopper constantly mess with Zeb throughout the entire episode leads to a lot of humor, but most of this episode is dedicated to the new character of Warhead, and hardcore Star Wars fans are going to notice that Warhead seems to be based off of the original designs for C-3PO. What I mean by this is a lot of the concept art for the original Star Wars film was done by artist Ralph McQuarrie, and his original design for C-3PO is kind of what you're seeing in this episode, and everything sort of comes full circle as well, because his original design for R2-D2 also just happened to be what Chopper looks like now, and was also present in that original artwork. So this is kind of like coming home to the classics. We've seen all manner of droids which are meant to kill people in the past, but honestly I really like Warhead because he's very unassuming at first. Basically, the Imperials just sort of like launch these pods down on the planets, and out come these droids, which look for any form of rebel resistance or rebel bases so that they can bring things back to the base. The thing is though, if they get compromised or destroyed, they're gonna frickin' blow the hell up. There's a great action sequence where you actually get to see this thing transform. Yes, it's actually like a frigging transformer, not like the Bayformers, and not necessarily like the original 80s Transformers, more like a Terminator, if you will. It goes through this weird change where its body starts to elongate, its arms transform into these massive pinchers which can spin around, it's got guns, it's got lasers, it makes julienne fries. So what happens when a Lasat and two droids walk into a bar? They come up with a kick-ass plan to destroy an Infiltrator droid. There's a great scene where they actually manage to capture this thing and reprogram it. The problem is it has this failsafe where if you try to like mess with its memory or something, it starts to go through this big self-destruct mode. Chopper is able to freeze it for just a little bit, but AP-5 is convinced no matter what's gonna happen, this bitch gonna blow up. But Zeb has another plan. He wants to actually send this droid back to the Empire, and they're actually going to reprogram it so that when it goes back to the ship, it's just going to blow the shit out of a massive Star Destroyer. And yes, that does happen, and yes, it's freaking awesome. Agent Callus, also known as the very secretive Fulcrum, also returns in this episode, giving a lot of praise to Zeb, which, you know, I wouldn't even have believed it at the beginning of the series, considering that their relationship started off a little pretty freaking rocky. We also get some very nice teases from Grand Admiral Thrawn at the very end of the episode, which is pretty much par of the course for him. They lose a battle, and for some odd reason, he gets a frickin' hard-on because he knows we're this much closer to capturing the Rebels and the Rebel Alliance. He's actually been able to narrow down all of the planets to where these Rebel bases could be, down to 94, which seems like a pretty big number, but honestly, I actually think it's just more of a reference to the fact that they met in Docking Bay 94 in the original Star Wars series. Maybe they just like repeating numbers, I don't know. Point is, the Empire is going to start ransacking these planets and trying to find the Rebel Alliance, which is going to lead to even more conflicts for the Ghost crew. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Star Wars Rebels? I'm glad that we had an episode that focused on Zeb. He's one of my favorite characters from the series, and while to many he might seem kind of one-dimensional, he's basically the big tough guy of the group, I love episodes with him. He's an incredibly expressive character, and I felt so bad for him at the beginning when all the other members of the Ghost crew decided to go on this big training mission and just leave him behind. It seems like he's beginning the short end of the stick for the last season, and it was really great to have a good episode with him, not to mention Chopper and AP5, who delivered just a lot of freaking great dialogue in this episode. In particular, the interactions between AP5 and Zeb are fantastic, because AP5 is just so up his own droid ass about everything. He thinks he's just a perfect being. He has no flaws, and they completely conflict with Zeb, and just seeing him get steamed throughout the episode just put a big smile on my face the entire time. Chopper also is an amazing character. Just like R2-D2, he's a character that doesn't really talk. He just makes a lot of boop and beep noises, but he still manages to express a lot of character. Hell, there's even one scene where I swear I actually heard him say, "I think I have a bad feeling about this," except it was all in Droid and garbled and boop boop beep boop. Warhead was also a pretty damn cool character, and surprisingly creepy as well when he went through his transformation and his face would actually open up and you'd see all of these red eyes, and it was so smart of Zeb to actually send him back to the Star Destroyer, which I didn't expect it to destroy the entire ship, but damn, apparently that bomb inside of him was so powerful, it could have potentially taken out their entire base. So if you like watching fuzzy aliens beating the shit out of robots, then this is the episode for you. It's got humor, it's got action, and frankly, it's just another tease for Grand Admiral Thrawn. As for a score for this week's episode, I'm gonna give this one right here a 4 out of 5. We got to spend some time with Zeb, who is my favorite character from the series. I wish we had more episodes with him, and it also just happened to be really creepy, action-packed, and really funny all at the same time, which is honestly, I think one of the best things about the Star Wars universe. They can pretty much be any story they want to. So check this one out, Zeb fans. For people wanting to see more Grand Admiral Thrawn, I still recommend the episode, as the tease for all of the things that he's going to do at the end of the episode just sends a big chill down my spine. So check it out, guys. If any of you did watch the episode, make sure to tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below. If you liked it, if you did not like it, what did you think of the brand new Infiltrator Imperial droid, freaking Warhead? Tell me in the comments section below. I will see you guys next time. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave me a comment or two. And as always, may the Force be with you.